You got that old piece of cast iron that's got so much crud in it you don't know if it's round or square, all built up, found it at the junkyard, garage sale, estate sale, you don't even know what's in it. Hey, we got some tips and tricks to you, and we're going to walk you through there to make that cast iron usable again and safe and be the best thing you ever cooked with. Welcome to this video, our little quick tips and tricks to help you along with anything that might be going wrong in the kitchen or outside. Now, if you're a brand new viewer and this is the first time you're seeing us, hey, we welcome you with open arms. Don't forget to hit that little subscribe button up there, ring a dingy-dong bell. You don't want to miss out on these quick tips and tutorials, but also we have our regular cooking videos that come out every Wednesday at 2:30 Central, and you sure don't want to miss them either. So the first method we're going to talk about, and this is probably the safest method, but it also is probably going to take care of 80% of the problem that most people got. We got this skillet. It ain't got no crack. Put it on that burner, medium heat. We're going to get it hot. Now when it begins to smoke, now this old crud that's on the outside and the inside and any rust that might be in there, hey, when that thing gets hot, it's going to come clean quicker. That's why we got to heat it. Take that wire brush to it on that drill, or maybe you got one you can run by hand, or maybe you ain't got none of this and you got to use some salt to scrub this rascal with. Take it off that burner and get after it. But folks, it did not get rusty in one day. You ain't going to fix this in one trip. So you may have to rinse it out, heat it back up, start all over again. It may take 3 times, 4 times, but let's get some elbow grease in there and let's get to working. Now, remember when we're talking about this salt scrub, I don't like to use that just fine table salt. I like to use that good coarse sea salt, something that's got some grit to it that's going to work. Now I have known people to use 60 and 80 grit sandpaper, but really I like the coarse salt best because it's going to get down in them cracks a little more. Now this buildup that's all on the outside, when that's getting hot, hey, get you something you can hang on to that handle with, hold it over the trash can, the sink, something where, but let's scrape that stuff off with a putty knife because it will peel off there pretty easy when it's good and hot. And the number 2 thing, folks, guess what it is? And I didn't know they had them for years. Self-cleaning oven. That's what Bertha is all the time. You drop something on her, she's going to self-clean it. But all the ovens today, nearly every one of them got a self-cleaning cycle. Now, before we go any further, I need to tell you this. I do not recommend that you put old, thin pieces in there. Pieces that are antiques. Or maybe you're even new to cast iron. You think, well, I heard him say this, I'm going to throw it in there. Don't do it, folks, because a lot of times you're going to crack one, or this ain't going to live through it, or one that's warped is going to get worse. So make sure that this is a good piece of cast iron. We're going to run that self-cleaning cycle, get you a baking sheet, put it on the bottom rack, take that skillet, turn it over to where it's above that rack, lock that door. It'll lock when you turn it to self-cleaning, and let it run. Now this is going to reach temperatures from 450 to 525 degrees. And let it run the cycle. You can't rush it. You can't even open the door. When it gets through, give it a little time to cool, just a little. Drag it out of there. Take that wire brush to it, and all that stuff that hadn't fell out of there is going to flake right off. You are back to bare, purified cast iron. That's all there is left. There's nothing living in there. There's nothing growing in there. It has been baptized. Now, folks, there is the last method, and I know a bunch of them old timers and a bunch of you people that watch on YouTube say, hey, this is how my grandma done it. What was that? Throw it in a fire. You know, I still don't recommend this for old cast iron, thin cast iron. Now, when I was out there cooking for ranches so many years, hey, a lot of times that's all I had. I just opened that door in old Bertha and I'd put a 20-inch skillet in there and I'd let it run. 30 minutes, I'd drag it out of there. They wasn't nothing living, nothing nowhere. That fire will do that, and a lot of them old timers used to tell me that when you had cooked that down in a fire outside, that ash helped to build that seasoning back up later. Now that I don't know, but if y'all know, leave me a comment on that because I've heard it a lot of times. Now sometimes, and I have found them skillets that's just got a little spot on one side. Maybe it's a little buildup that's got a little hump of old crud on it, or maybe it's just a little dab of rust that ain't much bigger than a dime. Now, I don't want to waste all that seasoning that I've been building up on there, or I think that is pretty good seasoning, by running it through the self-cleaning oven and getting everything gone. I'm going to spot treat it. So take you a little of that salt, get it ready to go, put that skillet on that burner, get it hot, pour it right on the spot that you need to work on. go to scrubbing. Or take that wire brush and do it right there on that spot. Let's see, can we get that buildup gone, get that rust out of there, then we can go back and reseason. All right, so that oven is preheated to 350 degrees. Now, clean this rascal really well. If you have just got through bringing this out of the self-cleaning oven yesterday and you've let it set and you've scraped it, I want you to give it one more good scrubbing with just a soft bristle brush over in some hot water, okay? Clean it really well. Then I want you to set it back up there on that burner, about medium-high heat, and let's dry that water out. Your cast will change colors as it gets drier. And get you a lint-free rag of some kind. I like to use a bandana that has been washed. Wipe this out, get it really good and dry. I want it to where it's hot. Now, when you get that thing to where you can't even lay your finger on the top of that rim of that skillet, it is hot enough to season, I promise. So turn that burner out. What are we going to start with? We're laying the base. Remember, I like to start with flaxseed. Flaxseed, it becomes a great bond to cast iron. So pour you enough in there that you make a spot, say, big as a 50-cent piece. And let's rub that all the way around the bottom, all the way around the sides. We got things greased. I don't want you to have a puddle in there. I want you to wipe out that excess oil, but I want you to have it oiled everywhere. Top, bottom, sides, all of it. Let's get it where it's ready to go in that oven. Slip her in there. We're going to let it run for 1 hour. And then, guess what? We're just going to turn that knob off and let it come to room temperature all on its own. But folks, this is not a one-time process. We're building that foundation, so if you ain't got time that day, tomorrow, let's do this again. Sure, you ain't got to wash it no more. You ain't got to do that. Set it back on that burner, get it hot, get you some more of that flaxseed, and let's build that layer up again. Slip it back up in that oven. Let it run 1 more hour. Drag her out of there after it gets good and cool. Do it again the next day. But you gotta build that foundation up. Now, as you're doing this, and I recommend you do this method at least 3 times. And then you're gonna drag it out of there and you say, well, mine's not glossy black. Well, folks, it ain't gonna happen like that. You're gonna start seeing some bronze colors take, maybe a little blacker over here on this side and maybe sort of a goldish color here, but it's gonna fill in. Now, after I run 3 times with flaxseed at my house anyway, what do I switch to? I have really become a great fan of avocado oil. Got a great high smoke point, but I also use a lot of grapeseed. And you can do this after you've got them 3 base layers on there. But remember, we have got to build this back up. Now, as we go along using this, and it's not turned solid black all the way through, but say we've got 3 foundation layers on there, and we're wondering what we can do now. It ain't something you can't use, folks. This is something that I love to start right now doing what? You know what that is? Deep frying. Hey, I'm talking putting me some grease in there like this, get it up to about 350 degrees, throw me some fried taters in there. I don't care what you deep fry, but deep frying is so good for brand new cast iron. Something I will tell you, don't think you can use that skillet right off the bat and you're going to make a cobbler or something that's tomato based or barbecue paste in there. You'll eat up what we just got put on there for 3 times. Be sure you deep fry in it first because that is the best thing you can do to start it off with. So folks, I want to tell you, and Shan has made it available for you and so easy, and that is our cast iron playlist. It's got so many things that it can help you with if you've got problems with, hey, I need help with my seasoning. Mine's a little rusty. What's the best way to clean it? Why is my cast iron sticky? Hey, we got you covered, and Shan will have you linked where you can watch it all. They is there to help you. Now, as always, I tip my hat to all our service men and women and all the veterans who have kept this country safe and give us so many of the opportunities and the freedoms that we have to do what we do every day. It's all about creating something great to eat and bringing family and friends in and sharing. God bless y'all, each and every one. Thank you so much for stopping by the barn, and we'll see you down the Cast Iron Trail. Get you some WD-40 and spray on your joints and they'll work better. You like popcorn?